the sun, the fields are alive. Cheering crowds and the teams collide. In these moments, we stand tall and free. First pride runs deep in me. With every touchdown, we rise and we cheer. Unity and spirit, the heart of the year. Raise your voices, let's make it loud. In Florida's high schools, we're so damn proud. From the bleachers to the end zone to go, football and cheers make our spirits grow. Girls in the game, they're fierce and bright. Flag in hand, they give it their might. From every town they bring their dreams. On this field of gold, nothing's as it seems. Together we shine, together we play. In Florida's heart, we own this day. Raise your voices, let's make it loud. In Florida's high schools, we're so damn proud. From the bleachers to the end zones go, football and cheers make our spirits grow. So here's to the game, we'll rise and stand. In Florida's field, ready or die band.
There we go. I don't know what happened there with the audio. I cannot hear you, Chris.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, somehow something happened in the thing when we went live. It disconnected off the mainframe and took the audio out. And somehow when I put it back in while we were starting to go live, I got it situated. So I don't know what happened, but now we can hear you. Now we're here. Sorry. Sorry, everybody. It just I don't know what happened there and everything. When we went live, it decided to throw the background out, and I had to throw everything back in, and it apparently took the audio out when I did it. So, but we're here for the Central Florida edition of the Blitz. We'll have head coach Eric Pinellas of the Osceola Cowboys joining us here momentarily here as I get the ticker. Why isn't the ticker not wanting to go? I don't know. So I'm trying to figure out why it's all of a sudden my Stream Deck is all of a sudden now malfunctioning as we do this, but we're rolling here. We're here, and good evening to everybody here and across Central Florida and everywhere else where you may be watching here. But we're here with the Central Florida Blitz. We're going to get rolling real quick into our Blitz Lines as we do each and every week here. And real quick as we roll through this here, we had 6 games in our pick'ems last week, and that included Oviedo at Bishop Moore, Milton versus First Academy of Popco, Coe, Evans, West Orange, Creekside, Georgia against Sanford Seminole, and then Norland and Lake Mary, Chris. And some interesting results there along the I-4 stretch in Orlando. And some games pretty competitive, some games not so much, I would say.
Yeah, and some of those not so competitive games were real eyeballs.
We're going to go jump into that Apopka Coe one. Because the forecast was Apopka 1 over a Coe. I know there was a lot of shuffling. Obviously coaching change there at Apopka from spring football into the summer. A lot of transfers out, but a 47-0 blowout. Ocoee wins that game. I would have told you that I would have never seen that coming here, Chris. Never.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either.
Yeah,
I wouldn't either. That's just one of those things that you have to scratch your head and like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, Demarion Cawthon and Jaden Safford, they both had Cawthon had 74 yards receiving and a pair of touchdowns. Safford had 2 scores rushing on the ground. They were the big dominants for Ocoee there, and you got to understand. I mean, Ocoee didn't go easy on Apopka either defensively, and they picked off 3 passes in that game. So really looking at the statistical box score here, it was really just I have to chalk this up. I mean, you if you've been following Apopka football for a long time, especially since now this is the 16th season for FloridaHSFootball.com, I've not seen Apopka get blown out this badly. Yeah, I mean, I have never seen Apopka get blown out this badly here ever, and I gotta say, it really is something here, and it's just I'm kind of mind blown by this. But again, 47-0. Ocoee over Apopka. Another one that, in terms of a blowout, that this one's another head scratcher to me, is looking at everything that Creekside, Georgia did and what everything Sanford Seminole did not do Friday night, and that was they got shut out. And they got shut out in the Kickoff Classic by Jones, and now you started the season with a shutout. So my question now is, what's going on at Sanford Seminole? What's going on with Carl Calhoun's group? I'm trying to figure it out, but I know it's still early season, but you gotta put things together quickly before things become too late, where you're sitting there in a situation where you need everything to be able to get into the playoffs.
Oh yeah, and considering the way the Florida playoff is structured, these games, like results like this, that will not help.
No, it will not help in the retrospect of things, because if this keeps up, it's going to be a long season for Seminole for Knowles fans there at Sanford Seminole. Considering that you still got Lake Mary in the back pocket, you got also potential a much improved Lake Brantley team potentially lurking around too. So you can't get things going, you're going to be in massive trouble, and that's the kind of general consensus feeling that I'm kind of getting here right this second. And if they don't get things going quickly, they're gonna be looking in the rearview mirror and trying to figure things out. So, yeah. So, with that said, looking at a couple of the other games that we had here that we want to bring up here, Oviedo Bishop Moore, what a game that was, 68-35. Talk about posting points. That was a point poster right there in that situation. Amir Johnson was a huge rushing threat for Bishop Moore. How about this? 223 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, and then Blake McCullough threw 322 yards and 5 touchdowns. I mean, holy cow! So,
yeah, not to mention Jackson Anderson got 113 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns from those passes.
Yeah, so I really, it just comes down to it. It's just, and you say, oh, okay, well, here you go. Bishop Moore gives up 35 points, but I mean, at the end of the day, you score 68. So I mean, you can kind of tone it down a little bit in some aspects if you look at the scoring ratio here, and it really just question is, can Bishop Moore tighten up the defense just a little bit, maybe not to allow 35 points, but given the fact that they were able to post 68 against what should be a good Oviedo team. I mean, Oviedo putting 35 up, I mean, that could kind of say, hey, okay, Oviedo's not too far down in terms of things. So, they're still going to be a decent football team. It's just, this is one of those games where it's just that, maybe things got started a little late than what they wanted to.
Yeah. And Bishop Moore is no slouch. They're a very good team. And Oviedo got a lot to learn from that game.
No, absolutely. Here, and as we roll through here real quick, looking at some of these games here that we're getting down to it. Evans at West Orange, that was a game right there. How about this one? It's this West Orange comes out 28-18 on this one. And of course, Evans won this game last year. So this was kind of a revenge game in the situation for West Orange. And you got to give it to him. Andrew Chung for West Orange, 267 yards and 3 touchdowns. And that's that'll lead you to a really good game right there. And Edison Delgado, of those passing yards, gave him a new career high. So, looking at with that game, I got to really say this. West Orange is going to be a threat. And that's not to say Evans is going to still be in the mix. So you can't discount Evans here because they're going to be, they got in the playoffs last year. So the West Orange, both of those teams, that's what you call a good quality game for both teams.
Yeah, and a game like this is going to pay big dividends for both teams down the line. Evans, I don't think they're going to lose more than two more games.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we roll along here, Milton, Georgia versus First Academy, and First Academy looked a little bit better than what compared to the outing in the Kickoff Classic against ING Academy, but still a loss. Milton walks away 24-17 over the Royals. So again, just looking at it in this situation, First Academy again, they're playing the national schedule since they're not they're disqualified from the playoffs this year. But I mean, at least I guess in my opinion here is that for First Academy, this was a much better showing, and compared to the likes of IMG. But also, Milton lost the week before that in the opening week up in Georgia.
Yeah, Milton, they were not a very happy team coming into Orlando. So First Academy, They tried, and I tell you what, you got to give them credit for hanging in there. You had Devin Jackson with 2 interceptions in that game. So, First Academy, they're going to be a much more improved team the more they get, the more they adjust to what they have to deal with this year.
No, absolutely. In fact, last but not least, Miami Norland and Lake Mary. How about this? 30-29. Lake Mary comes back down 22 there in the first half. Backs against the wall. Noah Grubbs and company finally get it together in that game in the second half. And you talk about a tale of two halves. There you go. First half, wrong answer. It was basically. You thought this was okay. This is it. You're like, okay, this is New Orleans dominating. I love the way how Noah Grubbs and company and Scott Perry's crew there at Lake Mary, they were able to reverse what was basically your backs against the wall in the first half, come back in the second half and win this game, by 1 point. At the end of the day, I don't care who you are. As long as you have one more point on the scoreboard than the other team, you win the game.
Yeah. And it seems to be a growing trend of these defending state champions where they struggle in the first half and
for state runner-up,
winning the game.
Mary. I mean, for state runner-up, this is huge. And Mark Cannon brings it up. Norland may have gotten a little too conservative in that second half, and looking at everything, I agree with you, Mark, on that one. They did get a little too conservative, and when you feel like you got a domination on that game, you don't want to back off. You don't want to back off until you really know, hey, do we really have this in hand? Because you give any opening to any team. You're basically coming. You can swing that game real quick, but that is our look at the Blitz lines. All right, how about this, Chris? We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to bring Coach Eric Pinellas of the Osceola Cowboys on to talk Cowboys football here for the interview here on the Central Florida edition of the Blitz. We'll be right back right after this here on the Blitz.
Box Out gives you the ability to create graphics at the speed of sports to highlight your athletic department, teams, and student athletes in seconds. Used and trusted by Notre Dame, Ohio State, UConn, Marquette, Georgetown, and many more of the top college brands in the country. If you want your school's brand to stand out through all the clutter, start your free demo at boxoutsports.com.
And is in the end zone for the touchdown. Touchdown.
Juggled and caught.
I've been thinking about this for a long time. I thought, if that's out there, I want to make sure I see it and I get involved in it, because to me, this was music to my ears. I was blown away. When you look at today's kid, the millennium kid, they learn by being able to see it. If I can see it, there's a great chance that I can do it. The First Down Playbook is a tool that can essentially change the way we teach the game.
All right, welcome back here to the Blitz here on FortHSFootball.com here and the FortHSFootball.com social media handles. Joining us now for our interview here for the Central Florida edition of the Blitz is the head coach of the Osceola Cowboys, now 1-0 on the early season, is Eric Pinellas. Coach, appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule here to join us here on the Blitz. And man, Coach, talk about it. Go down the Treasure Coast and just open up a can of worms on them, and 35-0, and y'all are headed back up to Kissimmee with a win here to start the season. Talk about getting the guys motivated and ready for this season, and just talk about the impressive performance your team had Friday night.
Coming into the season, I pretty much told the guys, last season is last season. Those guys are gone. Those seniors that help lead us to that, and they have to forge their own identity this year. They've accepted the challenge. They worked real hard this summer. We put some things together, had some great practices. Friday night was a just total team effort. Our defense played lights out. I think when I entered the stats, I think they held Treasure Coast to 47 total yards or something of that nature like that. Offensively, we were able to do some good things as far as running the football, threw it a little bit. A couple of turnovers that I wasn't happy about, but other than that, the kids played hard, and that's all we were expecting. Hard and physical. That's what we want.
No, I mean, talk about some of the guys. I know y'all, y'all come off a state runner-up finish there last year in 6A, but I know graduating a few guys. I know that always is for top quality teams like your program, you're always going to graduate a few guys that have been the impact. So, how did y'all handle with the transition from those guys to, having new guys step up basically this year?
We were fortunate enough that, we were able to get a lot of guys some reps last year. We lost, guys like Elijah Melendez and Robert Lee at the linebacker spot. But, Colton Carter, Nathaniel Barnett, Jeremiah Wiggins-Baker, those guys were able to get some quality minutes in, not just during the season, but also during the playoffs. Offensively, Jeffrey Stenafat, we had him last year, but he was injured. He played with 2 bad labrums last year. Both of them are now surgically repaired. He's healthy probably for the first time in a couple of years. Elijah Jenkins, we've moved him into the running back spot. He'll play a little A-back for us. We got a kid that transferred into it from Tahopa Kalaga named Jackson Hardnett. So now instead of being heavy, we are relying on, Tavion. We got kind of like a 3-headed monster going back there. And we got a new quarterback, a kid by the name of Amari Rutland, who brings a little bit of to the toolbox. He can throw it a little bit for us. He can run it a little bit. So he allows us to be a little bit more versatile too. No,
absolutely. All right. I think Chris has got a question here.
Yeah. You look back at the state championship game. What were you had a disappointment, and now you got Lake Mary coming up this coming week. Talk about the transition from the state championship game to this season and going through the schedule that you have this year.
State championships, we didn't play well. I mean, and they had some big plays on us. The post route that they caught. The takeoff down the sideline, the jump ball that our two guys played the ball, missed it, their guy caught it, whatever the case may be. We missed a field goal. We had like a backside post running wide open that we didn't see, that we didn't throw, that would have been. We just didn't play well, and they played well and they deserved it. Preparing for a team like Lake Mary, like you guys said in the Blitz, they're a great ball club, man. And you have to play them for 4 quarters. Coach Perry does a great job with them. They're very well coached. They're going to play hard. They're going to play to the end. You just gotta go out there and play your game. And offensively, we can't turn the football over. We got to score points, and defensively, we got to tackle it. We can't give up big plays over the top. Everybody knows Noah Grubbs is a great kid, great football player. They lost some kids, but the kids that they got in, man, are playing really well and are fitting into their system.
No, absolutely. And Coach, I know that last year that was one of the games that y'all would like to have had back, and because it was a 24-7 loss for y'all. I mean, what? I mean, I know you have to. Again, you mentioned Grubbs. You have to be prepared for him. I mean, you can't let them basically get it down the field like they usually do. So, I mean, what is the preparation like this week? Because I know it's a one game mentality for y'all. So, I mean, again, this is the focus this week. It's Lake Mary week now. So, I mean, what are the weeks compared to last year's game, going back and having to look at it and say, hey, okay, this is what we did wrong. We need to make sure we don't do this again here this year against them.
Well, last year when we played them, we lost Tavion like the 4th play of the game. He popped his shoulder out or whatever the case may be. And, for a new offense, week 2, the other younger kids were probably looking like, what are we going to do now? And whatever the case may be. So we kind of, I want to say we kind of, from a kid perspective, we kind of went into probably panic mode last year against them. I mean, this year it's different. Like I said, we're a little bit more versatile all around. So I think we're a little bit better prepared this year. Also, our offensive line is better this year. We got a kid, Marcus Farah, we lost last year for the entire year. He was out. He's back and healthy this year. Reginald Frost, we got him back. He had transferred to Leesburg. He transferred back. So those guys are our 2 tackles, both 6'6", over 320 pounds. So we'll be able to pound the ball a little bit. We can do some pass, do some pass pro and stuff like that. So I just feel kind of, excited to get it going on Friday. I look forward to the matchup.
No, absolutely. And Coach, the photo I used for our title card tonight, it was from your Twitter profile. 7v7 is not real football. You got to tell me where did this come about with the shirt? And
we were joking about it before the show, by the way.
I mean, it's quite comical because, outside of the scholastic realm, which, the Florida High School 7v7 Association does real well with, I got to say, outside of that, any 7v7, in my opinion, that's not the scholastic work. You're working with your team. Forget it. I'm not a fan of it.
I can't even remember. I saw a coach on X, Twitter, whatever it's called now, and he was advertising the shirts, and I just liked it. So I ordered it. I bought one. My coaches loved them and everything like that. My kids think it's hilarious because we don't really do 7v7 here. Like, we might do it locally with some of it, but I call my kids, I call them renegades. Like, some play for Certified Dogs, some play for 24K. Like, they're all over the place or whatever the case may be, and they always ask me, hey, Coach, can we go to UCF 7-on-7? No, thank you. So I just, if it's done right, it can be very, very effective for quarterbacks, receivers, and defensive backs. But some of the stuff that is allowed to happen there, the trash talking and some of the other antics, I'm a real big guy on discipline. So it kind of rubs me the wrong way, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm not taking jabs at nobody. It's just, but ultimately, it's not real football. It's like, you know what I'm saying? So I really like. I have another shirt that I wear to practice that says "Run the ball." So I try to switch it up every now and then.
Absolutely. And Chris, you got any final questions as we wrap it up here with Coach? I know he's got another interview here to hop on at 7:30, so want to make sure we can wrap it up with him, give him a chance to be able to transition to that next interview.
Yeah, I'll let you go, Coach. You're good. You're a great guy, and I appreciate everything you're doing.
No, absolutely, Coach, and appreciate you being able to take some time here and talk to us. And we'll definitely be keeping track of what Osceola does for the remainder of this early season that we're got going here.
We're in the middle of a weather delay JV football, so I'm sitting in my classroom. We're seeing if we're going to be able to finish this game. Got a storm coming through. It's halftime, so I appreciate you all and everything that you all do for high school football, man.
No, I appreciate it, Coach. And I mean, that Mother Nature deserves. Mother Nature she needs to get on out of here so your games can be played.
Absolutely.
All right, Coach. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. Take care.
Yes, sir. You have a good one.
All right. That was head coach Eric Pinellas of the Osceola Cowboys joining us here. And I mean, Chris, Osceola, I mean, they've been one of the top teams, not in the state for a long time. And I mean, when you talk about, in terms of top teams, top programs, names that are, not just regionally recognizable, but statewide recognizable, Osceola is one of those teams that is way up on the top. And of course, they've got a big rivalry coming up here in just a couple of weeks at St. Cloud, one of the top 5 oldest rivalries in the Sunshine State.
Yeah, not only that, they got Jones right after that, and then Melbourne. So their schedule's not going to get easy.
No, and they're going to get into the meat of their schedule, which district play. They're projected to win their district, but you just never know what way football is. Football is a funny animal here in the Sunshine State, and of course across the entire landscape of football. But Chris, let's take a quick break here. Come back. We seen a couple of comments in the chats here and everything, and we'll get to our pick 6 for week number 2 here. You're watching the Central Florida edition of the Blitz right here on FloridaHSFootball.com and the FloridaHSFootball.com social media channels. We'll be right back.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with a free ScoreStream mobile app. Download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Box Out gives you the ability to create graphics at the speed of sports to highlight your athletic department, teams, and student athletes in seconds. Used and trusted by Notre Dame, Ohio State, UConn, Marquette, Georgetown, and many more of the top college brands in the country. If you want your school's brand to stand out through all the clutter, start your free demo at boxoutsports.com.
Juggled and caught.
All right, welcome back here to the Central Florida edition of the Blitz here on FloridaHSFootball.com and the Florida HS Football social media networks. I am Joshua Wilson. That's Christopher Light there. Week number 2. Boy, that was a great interview there with head coach Eric Pinellas of the Osceola Cowboys. The Cowboys with a K. And as we get into our fan questions and comments here, We definitely appreciate everybody that's been jumping in on the comments here, especially as the fact I know that it kind of caught some people probably by surprise, but that we are no longer doing the live streaming on Facebook. We kind of had some snags with Facebook, and we kind of did some investigating, and let's just say we're not pleased with what Facebook has been doing with the whole live streaming. Now they're deleting, after we do live streams, they're deleting after 30 days, which basically doesn't allow us to build our audience. So we're encouraging everybody that that has watched on Facebook, tell them to come to our YouTube channel at Florida HS Football. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like buttons on the videos, because the more you like the videos, the more they're going to get recommended to people that may not be subscribing to us, and that will help the algorithm in our case here, which would also help our basically build up our in terms of what we earn on Facebook. So I mean on YouTube, excuse me. So again, YouTube is definitely has been a big supporter of content creators, and for content creators that are small and big like us, and we definitely would appreciate everybody doing that. Recommend us, share the link, youtube.com/@FloridaHSFootball. And again, Mark Cannon has a comment for us here. Coach Pinellas said his offensive line this year is better than last year. I did not expect to hear that. And actually, you know what? Mark Cannon, I think looking at that result against Treasure Coast, a 35-0 result, would explain that they definitely do that as well. Yeah, so I think it's definitely a much needed improvement there for Osceola to have an improved line, and of course a three-headed monster in the rushing department. That'll definitely take some. That definitely will allow the workload to be carried evenly better than what Tavion Swift had to do last year, being the workhorse of. Well, he couldn't provide that workhorse mentality fast enough in the state championship game. So. All right, with that said, we're kind of running out of time here, so we have got to get on the roll here with the time for the Pick 6 for week number 2. And yes, let's roll right into it. We have Ocoee at Olympia as our first game up here. And Chris, when the forecast numbers came and ran for this one here, I wasn't too thrilled, because I feel like this game is going to be much closer than what the forecasted line come from the Florida Power Rankings Index, and it's saying Ocoee 36 over Olympia. And I think part of it is that Ocoee had that big win against Apopka, but the other side of it is that Olympia ended up getting beat by Horizon, so there was a kind of a shift there. But I feel like this is a game that Olympia is going to be more. They're going to be in ticked off mode. So the question is that I feel like the game's going to be closer, but Ocoee's in that driver's seat, by the way, in District 7A5. They're already 1-0 in the district. Yeah, that was a district.
Yeah, when I saw this matchup, I was like, I'm scratching my head over the projection. So
it's still early in the season.
It's going to be a lot closer than people think.
So who are you going with here in this one, Chris?
I still like Ocoee to win this game, but Olympia, I wouldn't be surprised if they hung in there until the fourth quarter.
Mark Hanna says computer does not lie. Unfortunately, Mark. Well, I mean, hey, the Florida Power Rankings Index is 70.4% correct so far on the season out of week 0 and week 1. We were 70% right on the money for the computer last week. So we'll take it for what it is on that. So, and everybody's going to Ocoee over Olympia, but I feel like that gap's going to be much closer. So, all right, let's roll along here. Our game number 2. Winter Park goes up and meets Eric Lodge. Yes, that Eric Lodge from Sanford Seminole, who won that state championship there in 2020 in Class 8A. Winter Park at Berkeley, South Carolina. Chris, the Wildcats making that road trip to Moncks Corner. Nice little name for a town. Moncks Corner, South Carolina. And as the forecast pulls up here, Berkeley is a 13-point favorite over the Wildcats, giving Berkeley the 88% chance of winning that game.
Yeah, Berkeley, one of the top programs in South Carolina. Got the handful, but I think Berkeley going to win this thing. Only by about 10 points.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning to Berkeley on this one, but this, this was a game that was supposed to have been played last year in Winter Park, and I believe this
hurricane.
Yep, and a hurricane kind of wiped that out right there. So good to see them get this on the schedule and Winter Park going up there to South Carolina. But I'm going Berkeley. Chris is going Berkeley. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned that Reno's going Olympia in the Ocoee Olympia game, and he's also taking Winter Park in this one. So we'll see what happens here. All right, our third game up on the docket here is New Smyrna Beach at DeLand at Spec Martin. And this one between John Wilkerson and Rick Darlington, DeLand 11-point favorite over the Barracudas. So Bulldogs have an 84% chance of win probability here, according to FPRI. Chris, what do you think here? Bulldogs or Barracudas?
I like DeLand. It's not going to be that close, but I think it's going to be a very competitive game.
I like DeLand here in this situation. I like what they did. They went out to Madison County last week to open the season, won 21-20 over the defending Rural State champion Cowboys. Rick Darlington's got some studs on this team this year. They were young last year. This year, I think DeLand's a much improved team compared to what the computer was trying to project on terms of what their season was going to be like. I like for it to be wrong in this situation in some aspects because that'll only help improve the numbers as we put more data into it over time. I'm going with DeLand. Krista, you're going DeLand, and Reno is going DeLand. So we are all taking the Bulldogs here for this one. All right, rolling along here in our pick six here, we have got Avon, Ohio at Spruce Creek. One of the top teams out of Ohio is making the trip down to Florida this week to play Spruce Creek, and the Hawks a big winner last week over Seabreeze. Avon, Ohio, they're already believe one, and actually I think this is actually I want to say this actually may be Avon, Ohio's first game. I can tell you real quick here because I do have it here in the let me look here. Avon, Ohio. Yes, this is Avon, Ohio's first game of the season. So, but they are forecasted as a 20-point. Going backwards here. Got to go forward here. All right, a 20-point favorite over Spruce Creek, giving Avon, Ohio a 96% chance to win. Chris, what are you thinking here?
Spruce Creek, very good team, but I tell you what.
You're going to go Avon?
Give them makeup.
Give them the makeup? What do you mean the makeup? Oh!
You don't know what Avon is?
That deserves a because it did not sink there for a moment. But yes, Avon. Give me. I'm gonna go Avon as well on this one, so I'm taking Avon to win this game here. Sorry, Spruce Creek fans, sorry to disappoint you this week in this one. But by the way, Mark Cannon and Emory Williams-Smith, they're going with DeLand on their picks, and then Chris with more props tonight. Chris, I'm gonna get me a whiteboard. I'm just gonna start holding a whiteboard up too. So I'm gonna go with Chris on that one. Start holding up props. All right, our fifth game then for this one. Yes, we have an international game to feature and spotlight for you. The NFL Academy out of the United Kingdom is making the trip over the pond to come to Orlando to play Edgewater. Yes.
Yes. They were here. Edgewater took that trip to London last year.
So NFL Academy is making the return trip. And yes, we do have a forecasted line because we were able to track NFL Academy's wins from last year, wins and losses last year. We're already tracking their wins for this year. They did get a win last week over Hun School of New Jersey. So NFL Academy want to know on the season. Edgewater, big win last week over Wekiva. Edgewater 20 over NFL Academy. That is your win forecast line here. Win probability, Edgewater, 96%. I like the Eagles. Patrick Browning, we're going to hopefully get him on one of our shows here in the next few weeks. Maybe next week we might be able to get him for Central Florida Blitz. But I mean, the Patrick Browning's era at Edgewater has started off quite nicely, and I like the Eagles. Chris, where are you going with this one?
Yeah, I like the Eagles as well, but it's going to be closer than people think. These kids in London, they can really play football.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you've seen their film, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. Mark Cannon says Edgewater stinky doodles. Gosh. Holy cow. All right, Mark Cannon. You winning tonight on this one. All right. That's our 5th game. We've got our 6th game. We got to get rolling here. Lake Mary and Osceola. How would y'all know this would be our final game? Because, it's the game of the week in Central Florida. Rams versus Cowboys with the K. The 2 state runner-ups from 2 of the 3 state runner-ups from Central Florida. They're going at it. Of course, we said last year it was a 24-7 win for Lake Mary. Lake Mary coming out that 30-29 win over Norland. Osceola 35-0 over Treasure Coast. This game is going to be a game of inches. It's going to be a game of probably, I would say, even feet at this point. I mean, feet and inches. This is what it's going to be down to. So the line is Lake Mary 6 over Osceola, and I could see it going this way. A touchdown probably wins this game, maybe even a field goal, Chris.
Yeah, this is going to be a game of inches, maybe centimeters. And the momentum is on Lake Mary's side right now, but it's going to be a game of momentum. So give me Lake Mary.
You're going to take Lake Mary. This one, man, I love Noah Grubbs, but I also love what Eric Pinellas is doing. He might not like me after this doing a show, and then I go and pick against him, something like this. But I'm so torn on this game, but I have to stick with my thoughts on this one. I got to go Lake Mary in the computer here. I think the biggest thing that detracts me from taking Osceola, which, by the way, Reno is taking Osceola, and he did take Edgewater, by the way, as well. The thing that detracts me from taking Osceola in this game is the fact they don't have really a passing game, and you got to have a passing game to beat Noah Grubbs and company, in my opinion. So this is where I take Lake Mary in this situation. I'm not saying that Osceola can't win this game. Obviously, win probability is 70-30 here. It's just that you've got to have a passing game in this situation. That's the thing. I think I'd be honest with you. That is the one thing. If Osceola had a passing game, they could have.
They could have in the state championship game.
They could have won that state title. That's the biggest thing. But all right, that is it with the pick 6 there for week number 2 here for the Central Florida edition of the Blitz. Chris, any thoughts here as we finish up here?
Yeah, looking forward to the week 2 action in Central Florida. Lake Mary and Osceola, great matchup.
No, absolutely. All right, we got the Northeast Florida Blitz coming up. We have Kevin Doling from Tucoy Creek joining us on that one. And actually, I've got some people that I know that will be watching that one. So, and I'm talking about longtime people. So we'll talk about that more on the flip side here as we come back here in a few minutes here for the Northeast Florida Blitz here on FloydHSFootball.com, the FloydHSFootball.com social media handle networks. We'll see you then in a few minutes.